Welcome to the Your Limitless Leadership Podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. Here, we believe leadership isn't just about titles. It's about how you show up in every aspect of life. Whether you're leading a business, building a legacy as an entrepreneur, guiding your family, or striving to lead yourself first, this podcast is for you. Join us as we dive into real conversations about growth, decision-making, and the courage it takes to lead with purpose. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and equipped to become the limitless leader you are meant to be. This is Your Limitless Leadership Podcast. Let's lead without limits. All right, here we go again with Mr. Brent Widman and Mrs. Jenny Widman. And today, we got a good one for you, man, here, because today we're going to talk about the silent weight, and I mean in the struggle or things on your shoulders, what have you, of being a leader, and how us as leaders, and Jenny can chime in here in a second, us as leaders, we hold so much in because we have this weird thing about we don't want to seem vulnerable at times, or we don't want to seem weak, or what have you. And that's a big part of it. But thank you, first and foremost, for joining us, because this is going to be, I'm excited for this one. This is going to be a good one. And one of the things that we are going to give away on this one, and you can email us to get this, either B. Widman or J. Widman, Widman, at yourlimitlesscoach.com to set up a free call, a leadership DNA, to those of you business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders that are making at least 200,000 plus to dig in about your business. And we will help you with a free call on that, and also dig in with you a little bit to see where you're at, what you may need help with, reinforcement on, what have you, and just see where you're at, basically. So would love to chat with you about that. But I want to dig in. Anything to add to that, Mrs. Jennifer Widman, at all?
Yeah, the one thing I like to say just about the silent weight of leadership is something that's not talked about often, and that is it does get lonely at the top. And I don't mean lonely in the sense of you're depressed and bored and things like. I'm talking about, like, am I doing it right? Like, am I helping my people the best that I can? What can I be doing more of? What should I be doing less of? Affirmation goes a long way for people. And I know you've heard the duck analogy, or if you've listened to any of our stuff, I talk about being the duck a lot. But you do have to look cool, calm, and collected on the outside, and inside you are going every which way. You have a million things on you're spinning a million plates, and it's your job to look like you have it all together. And sometimes it's just nice to have someone or people in your corner that you can get ideas from, figure it out with, get affirmation from. And so that's what we wanted this conversation to be about, are just techniques Brent and I have used in the past, what we see by the leaders that we work with that works best. And you don't have to do it alone, because at the end of the day, I don't think anybody should be doing this crazy thing called life alone. So that's my two cents.
To start off with what you just said about lonely at the top, questioning yourself, what have you. Do you have a time when you questioned if you were a good leader, your leadership style, if you will, just a point, maybe it was with somebody, maybe somebody said something to you, maybe you struggled with something that, and maybe it still happens, I don't know, but you're being a good leader, being a strong leader. Has that ever happened to you that you've questioned yourself?
Yes, it has happened to me a lot. I don't want to say like necessarily a lot and numerous times, but if I can count on one hand how many times I feel like that's a lot, and I'm a very confident individual and in my abilities, but there are times in the past when you're leading other people and emotions, that emotions get the best of you sometimes. And you may lash out more than you wanted to, or more than what was needed, or you regret something that you've said. But I remember this one particular guy, he was on our team, and I was in a PC with him, just a one-on-one conversation. And he looked me in the camera and he said, "Jenny, you are a horrible leader. I want nothing to do with you. I don't want to have conversations with you anymore. And I'm done. I'm done. That, I'm going to get off the Zoom right now. I don't think you're listening to me, and I'm over this." And I remember sitting there like, oh my God, like what just happened? I called him out because of his schedule. I called him out because he wasn't working. Numbers don't lie, people do. How I looked at it in that moment was I'm being a horrible leader if I don't be honest with him, if I don't call him out, because my number one job is to get him money, is to get a paycheck at the end of the day so he can pay his bills. And here he is, where his last paycheck was less than $1,000. That didn't even pay his mortgage, his rent. And I was very tough on him. And he thought that I didn't earn that enough to be hard on him. Brent had a much better relationship than I did with this guy. And, I guess I maybe took advantage of that, thinking that I'm Brent's wife and I can talk to him like this. And clearly I just shut him down, and he just brutally, I was very PG when I just said that, what he said to me, but he went very severe. And, the first reaction I did when I got off the call is just hysterically cry. Went down to Brent, explained everything that happened, played victim. That was my first response, if I'm being totally honest.
I love it.
And the more I thought about it, the more logical I became and less emotional I became, and realized that I just, didn't have the trust, and I didn't have the authority that he wanted or needed from me to be able to speak that honestly and open to him. But at the end of the day, I don't regret what I said. I don't regret what I did. I learned from it for sure. But it's also like, you need the right people. You need the right people on your team. You need the right people that are coachable and that can take the criticism. And I have no ill will towards this person by any means. At the end of the day, I feel like he did make me a better leader, and I learned a lot from it. It's just, that's the one glaring one that I never had anything else like in my life. So, yeah.
And I love that. You said a couple of things, and just to, I don't know if I ever told you this, but to make you feel better on that one, he did the same thing to me at one time. And then he apologized afterwards. So it was like, I look at that like, when you are and you're a good leader, like you started off this with confidence, and not that I have to affirm you on this or anything like that, but this is more for audience. When you get to a point, hopefully that you're pretty good because you've put the time and effort and developed. Now, if you haven't, you might want to question yourself. But you've been leading for a long time, and you've led a lot of people. And to have one anomaly out of all of those people, even though it might hit home with you, it still hurts. But knowing that I love that you said you learned something from it, even though you probably knew it wasn't on you. A lot of it was on him, which is kind of the way it is. Basically, that was the defense mechanism. But you did say something that you felt like you hadn't earned the trust yet. And that's a big thing with leaders, is we have to earn the trust, and we have to dig in with people and be vulnerable with people, is another thing you said, and you learned from it too. And you cared enough to call him out because you saw more in him at times than he probably still to this day. I know who you're talking about, and I see more in this guy because he is a very intelligent dude than he probably sees in himself. And you challenged him, and he just didn't want to be challenged, is kind of what it came down to. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Well, and the one thing I would say to it is delivery. My delivery can be abrupt at times. It can, I wear my face, I wear my emotions on my face. And one thing that does really irk me, or always has, is when people just don't put in the effort or work, because that's the controllable. And I just don't get I just don't get not working. I don't get not making money. I don't get not doing the job that you're supposed to do. And so it's helped my delivery. I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I'm still working on it to this day, but it's helped my delivery. And if you are a leader, and you do wear your emotions on your sleeve, and you can't understand why someone's not like you, it does take a lot to kind of put your ego down and figure out how you can get through to other team members on your team that are not like you. And that's what it helped me do, is kind of take a step back, understand more, and don't be quick to judge or assume, and watch your delivery. So that's the one thing.
Yeah, you just hit. I struggled mightily with that when I first became a leader. For some reason, I trusted in the fact that everybody was going to work as hard as Brent Widman did, and I just couldn't wrap my mind around why people didn't, and it drove me batty. It's like I would ask them or help them or tell them to do something. I would literally lay out the map of how to become successful in what we do and how we do it. And for some reason, people wouldn't follow the map. They would take a sharp right or a left, or not even start, or start and stop, or all these different things. And you have to understand kind of what you said. The personalities are different, and it's leading people the way that they want to be led. Like one of my leaders told me once, the best thing I loved about you, Brent, is just when I told you to do something, you did it. And I thought that was normal. But there's people out there that you have to really pull them along, or you have to understand how they think and what they think and how they do. And that's kind of what you just said, is we still struggle with it at times because you're not sure, but I'm still dumbfounded in different instances why people make excuses or struggle with things. Like, just do. And that's, yeah, really kind of, we're on the same wavelength there. I think that we know what the result becomes. Why would you not want that result? Yes, put it that way. But yeah, that's part of it.
Last thing, then I'll move on to my next question for you. But the biggest thing that I tell people that I work with too, and for myself, is whoever your leader is. Like, most people have a leader in your company that either you report to, or the president, CEO, or someone that's a wing person. But tell them how you like to be led. Tell them that, this is something that you did last week that I just wanted to let you know this doesn't work for me, and I would prefer this. So moving forward, can you give me more of this? And some people just don't realize they're doing it, or know they're doing it. And so one thing that I just encourage anybody that's on this call is, whoever you're speaking to daily, when it comes to communication and healthy communication, just tell them how you like to be led, or when things do not sit well with you, tell them that so they can change. Because that's all I would ever want from my people, is when they can give me constructive things that I'm doing that are wrong for them or right for them, for me to lead them better. So
spot on. It's when they know, when you tell them, like, ask them, like I've told you, and this goes what have you, but if you ask me to do something, I'll do it. I'll move mountains. If you tell me to do something, my defense mechanism goes up for some reason, but I know that about myself, and it's just kind of the way it is and what happens. So there's people like that.
I'm working on it, okay?
I'm working on it.
So question, What is the hardest part or thing
Um,
about leadership that you have to let go of? Meaning, like, hardest thing for you to let go of when you are in leadership.
wow, that could go in many different directions. The hardest thing to let go of. Uh, as much as I don't want to say control, that's probably it. When I first got into leadership, and I've told this story in the past, I was told that the best salespeople don't always make the best leaders.
Yeah.
That created a lack of confidence in me that lasted for years. And I'm talking probably almost 10 years. Even when I became a leader in what we do now, I didn't want to be. I didn't want to have a team. I didn't want to grow a team. I didn't want to have people around me. And the sole reason, and that was 8 years later, that was the sole reason. And to answer the question, it was because I thought I could do everything myself.
Mm-hmm.
I can sell everything. I can make enough money. I can show people just by showing them. And it wasn't until I started releasing that power, as weird as that sounds, that I became a better human. And it's because you start seeing in other people, take this for what you will, the things that are wrong with you. I saw that I probably wasn't a very good leader. I thought leaders were born, because you hear that from time to time, and I don't believe that. I just don't. I believe they are developed. I believe it's the product of, again, people you surround yourself with, people you let in. And that was something that I did not do. I didn't let people in. I thought I knew everything.
Mm.
I didn't read. I hadn't read a book in 20 plus years or listened to a book. That was the hardest thing for me as a leader. Now, I know that might be different than letting go of something, but it's the letting go was letting go of my ego, I think is what it was. That I really thought the best of the best just were born that way. And they're not. They're developed. I don't know if this is answering your question, but it was hard, man. Like, it was hard to look back on what that guy said. Lee was his name, or is his name. And to know that he was right. Because in the moment, I was like, who are you to say that to me? And I wish I could go back and like thank him or hug him and say, I appreciate you changing this for me. But I can't, obviously. So, yeah,
Right.
that's probably the biggest thing.
So how did you go from like not reading a book for 20 years to reading? How many did you read that one year? Wasn't it like 48 or something?
I still read at least a book a month. I know that doesn't sound like a lot. Sometimes it's probably 15 to 20 a year is what I listen to. But
Okay.
that year I made it a point to listen to at least 3 to 4 a month. And it was, I think it was 41 or something like that is what it was, because it was I ingrained myself into reading because I had been told so many times that you need to start reading. And I think I've told this story before, but I hadn't read a book till I was, what was I, 37, 38 years old. I hadn't read a book since Of Mice and Men, since I had to read it when I was a junior in high school. That was the last time I read a book. If that tells you anything. And not that books are the magical answer to everything, but I'll tell you what, that's, to me, that's also the product of surrounding yourself with people.
Right.
It's not just Jenny's sitting beside me, or you go to an event, or it's the people you work with, or whatever it is. It is the books you read, the podcasts you listen to, the things the coaches you have. That's the people you surround yourself with. So yeah, that's what it changed for me, for sure. Yeah. What surprised you the most about leadership once you got into it? Like, was there, and maybe it's not once you got into it, but maybe even now, over time, what has really surprised you about maybe yourself, the people you lead, or just leadership itself? Like, what has really surprised you?
I'm not going to say when I got into leadership, that was 20 years ago, but now, after having kids, the one thing that surprises me the most is how raising kids is like, or aspects of it, raising your team members. And some people say this so much better than probably is what going to come out of my mouth right now. But it's a question I ask myself all the time. Am I enabling them or am I empowering them? And I want to be that source that they keep coming back to when they need me, but not when they need me for every little thing, you know? And there's sometimes that I give in to, we have a 4-year-old. I give in to Hudson because he's 4 and he's only going to be 4 for that much. He's growing so fast. And so even though when I know I shouldn't carry him, I want to carry him because I can physically carry him right now, when in 1 year I won't be able to. But the transition of team members is, I don't want them to have to come to me to be carried all the time, you know? And it's like, you need to keep letting them off the leash more and more and more for them to gain the confidence that they need. And I talk about KFC all the time. I actually was doing it on a coaching call earlier. And, you know, my number one goal for any team member that comes on board is they have very little knowledge on what they're supposed to be doing or can be doing. They have very little confidence that they can get there. They have this massive amount of fear. And my number one goal as a leader is to get this to become this. And my goal is as short as time as possible, like 90 days, if I can do it, right? So that just means that I'm increasing their knowledge. In turn, I'm increasing their confidence. And in turn, I never want fear to go away from them. I want them to live in fear, because at the end of the day, that means they're growing and they're becoming better and doing what they need to be doing, and they're challenging themselves and everything. But if they're still back here month 6, I have a problem. So it's just transitioning from this to this, and it is like raising kids. You know, it's, can they wipe their own butt yet? Should they be able to wipe their own butt yet? Or are they 3 years old where they can't do it yet? Like, it's that fine line between what are the things that I need to provide for them and give them, and what are the things they just need to fall flat on their face and fail. Like, they just need to skid their knees and be okay and get better at it. And it's one of the biggest things that I see in leadership is the leader just does everything 2 years in. They have the hard conversation. They don't let the other leader have the hard conversation. They sell the thing and they don't let the other person sell. They literally take over the control because they can do it better than them. Well, your number one job as a leader is to help them do it better than you one day. Like, so are you doing the things that you need to be doing so that you're duplicating yourself for these people? You know, my job is to raise Hudson so when he's 18 years old, he goes out there, he figures it out. He gets a job, he pays his bills, he doesn't fall flat on his face, he makes the good decisions. Now, I'm doing that with team members, but on a shorter scale. And so it's just empowering them to be able to be self-sufficient enough, but to know mommy and daddy are here. We're just not going to get you out of your rut, and you need to figure it out yourself. So long-winded answer, but that's what my answer would be.
It's funny you say that, because I look at those of us that have kids. I look at it the other side, not just wiping your butt by yourself or doing the things by yourself, but it's the act of patience. It's the same thing with your team. And even if you don't have a team with just one person, I don't care. Mm-hmm. It's the patience with them, but helping them and guiding them and developing them. And then the other thing is expansion of time and energy. When you have kids, it expands your time. You figure out how to get things done. Same thing with your team. You can't be all things to all people. You have to figure out how to give to get. You're giving away things that are developing them to get your time back, which also leads to your energy. And what I mean by that is there is something magical about when you are tired and you do something that you didn't think. Take working out. Have you ever worked out when you're tired? When you
This
just,
morning.
yep, you don't feel like it, you don't want to, that alarm goes off, or you got to get up off the couch and go for a run, and you're just like, but you do it anyway. And it shows you that you can do these things that you're doing the hard things so you can do the other thing, is really what it comes down to. And I think that's part of leadership as well, is you are expanding your time, you're expanding your energy, you're expanding the person that you are. And that's a huge part of what you become when you start to understand that you can let things go. And I don't mean just a task. I mean things that you think and do and be and everything else that goes with it. So yeah, that's a good answer.
So when I like to ask this to you, when do you know when to rest, or when do you know when you need to be told to stop? Like, because you're someone that I feel like could go. We just got back from a family vacation, to Texas, and so I kind of want your mindset there.
Are you asking me what I do to let go? Or what are you
No,
asking?
no. Like, when do you know when it's time to rest, or do you need to be forced to stop something to enjoy balance?
I would say the latter. I don't know when it's time to rest. You know what? Let me answer this. I simply don't care. I don't. And what I mean by that is I do things that I enjoy. And that means I don't need rest. Now, take that with a grain of salt. I'm in bed by 9 o'clock every night and I get my 8 hours of sleep for the most part. And I'm up at 5. I'm rested. I take a nap at noon every day for 20 minutes, and I'm not bashful about saying that because it rejuvenates me and gets me back into it. When I am forced, that is typically a vacation that my wife likes to plan or time off that she asks me to take. Now, while I know that how important that is, thank you for doing that and helping me with that. And I think that's part of choosing the person that you have or making the choice to do that. So yes, on one side, I love what I do, so I don't want to rest. I enjoy showing up to work. I enjoy being nonstop. I enjoy all the facets of life. Also, kids have taught me that you can go without needing rest, right?
They don't
Um,
have an off button.
what's that?
They don't have an off button.
No, they don't. And you really can't either. And the other thing, the military taught me that as well, that you can push through hard things, running marathons and ultra and all the other working out for how many years and blah, blah, blah. All that stuff has taught me that you can push through. I don't really need a break.
Mm.
On the flip side of that, there's something magical that happens when you do take time off, like that we did just go to Texas, and you get to watch your kids run around and play, and you get to watch the joy and you get to have fun with them. And you even get to struggle with them a little bit when you're tired and hungry, but you get to see why you do what you do. And that's what helps me shut off at times. And then there's you that have truly helped me with this. So if you don't have your person that helps you with this, allow them to help you, because as a leader, that's going to help you help other people. You have helped me know it's okay to take time off, know it's okay to take off at 4 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock at times, that it doesn't have to be all the time. So I think that's, to answer your question, you can have your cake and eat it too. And I really enjoy that. Put it that way. So That's one of the biggest things for me is I truly enjoy go, 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 because I know I'm going to be in bed at this time, get up at this time, but the rest of the time is dedicated to other things. I guess put
Mhm.
it that way. I do get my hour though. And I think that's part of, for me, that's rest. My
Yeah.
workout is my rest. As funny as that sounds, it's my time to regroup, my time to think, my time to recalibrate, my time to feel confident, my time to just jam out, whatever. Doesn't matter. You get it, what I'm saying. So,
Well,
yeah,
we work. I love that you just said that because you work so hard. We work so hard, and you know the price tag of that trip was nothing to me when I saw Elle just
yeah,
at the happiest she's ever been running around a water park,
yeah,
and that we could afford to take 2 days off to spend all this money to go to a different place on an airplane, go to water parks and rodeos and all the things and just see the look in her eye of how happy she was. And that's, I believe, a trip she'll remember for the rest of her life and talk about. So, uh,
agree.
I think it's so important.
What is, and I've kind of told you mine with Lee and the best salespeople don't always make the best leaders. But what's the hardest piece of feedback? Because you've been ingrained in leadership for a long time, and I feel like you truly enjoy it just by listening to you talk to people you've led and the relationships you build and what have you. But what's the hardest piece of feedback you've ever received as a leader? Does anything stand out to you at all? And I mean, you can answer what you did with it. I'm guessing you'll probably answer that anyway. But does anything stand out to you from leaders, from the Marks, the AJs, other leaders that maybe weren't direct leaders, type of thing that would stand out to you that you've gotten?
Mm. Well, when you first asked that question, I had a completely different answer. Then you said the last couple things, and then I have a different answer. So
Let's do both of them.
I'm gonna
Do
do
the
both
first.
answers.
Yeah.
uh, well, the hardest part for me over the last decade is I've been through, I want to say, 8 or 9 assistants. And I'm like, why can I not keep an assistant for the life of me? Like, it was brutal. I mean, one of the assistants just literally fired me and was like, I don't want to work with you. And it humbled me for sure. And I definitely learned from her. She's an amazing assistant. She's an amazing woman, but our personalities were the exact same. And it was just, it just did not mesh well when it came to needing assistance. So my first answer when it came to it was that feedback of like, some were because they moved on, some because we got married, some because they fired me, life events that happened and stuff. But I feel like I've learned so much because like your assistant is like everything to you. They're doing everything that you don't want to be doing. And so I'm a very direct person. Sometimes I just text and say, hey, do this for me, get this for me, do this, I need this by, and if it's not done, where is this? I asked for this on Monday. And back to my delivery, I learned over the years, like they're not my order taker like I still have to, even though it's in a text message, maybe a voice memo is better for me, in terms of communication. And now our operations girl and we have an amazing relationship and I love her so much and we've learned to work together and she knows me and all that. And I feel like you just have to find your Donna, if you guys watch Suits reference. But, Danielle's absolutely amazing. And so I've just learned my way through all of them. And it's great.
I love that. That
Uh,
is, I
yeah.
got to comment on that because that was, I think the reason I loved that assistant so much is because she was so, I'm done with it. I'm going to get it done. I got it done. Don't worry about it type person. And I'm a lot of times the exact opposite when it comes to my work ethic. I'm that person, but when it comes from outside, if you know what that means, I'm a drastically different person. I'm a please, thank you. Can you do this? Will you do this? I appreciate it.
You're a people
I'm
pleaser.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good way to put it. I'm more of a people pleaser than I am a get it done because I want it done type of person. So yeah, that's funny. How only reason I say that is because you work different with different people. You have to know what works for you, but you also have to set expectations so they know your personality. Like I know when Jenny is being straightforward, it's not because she's mad or wants to be a Karen, if you will. That's how she says things at times. It's just the way it is. And other people are like that as well. So, yeah, love it. What was the other one?
It's interesting because, Mark and AJ, they've been my favorite and best leaders for me. And both of them are the exact same person.
Yep.
Like they are direct. They are to the point. You have to earn their respect. You have to earn their time. Once you're in, you're in. You're golden, but it takes a minute to get in there. And that fueled me, to get into that trust circle, to tap into be that person. And some other leaders that I have had were not like that. And one of the leaders that I've worked with in the past, she sat down with me on a one-on-one and she told me all of these adjectives that I was. And they were all adjectives I have never been told in my life.
Wow.
Some were selfish, greedy, stubborn, I've been told, but she said that. And she just listed like these horrible things. And I literally just sat there and I was like, what is she talking about herself right now? Like, I am so confused. And I had to like take a second because I do like this person as a person. Like she has a good heart. She is I'll say a wonderful woman. She reached out to me when I was going through some very low times in my life and stuff, but with leading me, it was oil and vinegar. I mean, we had to have mediations together. Like it was just not a healthy working relationship. And I just think that we saw so many qualities of each other in each other, but those words did hurt. And there's truth in everything sometimes. And so it made me self-reflect, like, I don't want to come across as these things. I don't want to be told these things. And so what do I need to change differently? And so I always ask myself, like, be for what's right, not who's right. So I fight for what is right. And if what is right is selfish, if what is right is greedy or stubborn, I'll stand by it, because at the end of the day, I'm going to say it. And I appreciate leaders that stick up for you. And I appreciate leaders that do those things. But if AJ or Mark would ever say those things to me, oh God, I am changing in a heartbeat. I am doing whatever. I'm apologizing. I'm doing everything that I could possibly do, because they would never say that about me. So it's also like you have to look at who's saying it to you and about you, and then take what you will from it, and take the good and forget the bad. But
Well, I think you just said something there too. You said a couple things where Mark and AJ, you had trust with them, you had respect for them, like you believed in them. And then this other person didn't have that same level of that with you and for you.
mm-hmm.
It was hard for you to receive feedback from that, yet you did still take that feedback and actually do something with it, knowing that part of it was on them, but part of it's on you as well. So there's, like you said, there's truth in everything, or not everything, but there's a little bit of truth in everything. And it's pretty cool to hear that, because that's kind of that underlying thing, that whenever somebody gives you feedback or tries to help you, even if they say it in a not so good way, put it in your words and figure out what they're really trying to say. And I think that's what you did, is what it sounds like. You took some of it. Yeah, but the respect wasn't there because it wasn't earned. As a
Right.
leader, you have to earn respect. That's hands down, that is something that you have to do. And if you don't do it, and it doesn't just come by telling people what to do and doing all the activity and the work, and it's, you have to earn respect from people, and that's building that culture too at the same time. So
Mhm.
I love that. Love that.
Moving on, here's somebody that looks like you have it all together. So, what would you say
Cool.
to if they knew your story? You need to hire Brent to come give a keynote about his story. It's very awesome. But what would you say to other leaders who feel like they have to always have it all together? Like, what would you say to them?
You're full of crap. What I have come to find out is the more you try to look like you have it all together, the worse you are going to be.
Mm,
When you are vulnerable, and I don't mean you're crying in a meeting, that's not what I mean by vulnerable. But when you are using your story, things that you have been through, things that you've struggled with, I will promise you, they may not have struggled with the same exact things, but there is a correlation there that they have probably been through it as well. And that is what I have come to find out, that when somebody's having a conversation, whether it's my story personally or somebody else's story that can help correlate with that, we all have that story and we all have those things. That's what I mean by vulnerability. I don't have to have all the answers. I don't have to know everything, but I can be somebody who listens and talks through things. And the other thing I would say, I'm trying not to swear, but have the give a shit factor. And that goes further than anything else. You do not have, and hopefully that answers the question, that we don't have to have it all together. When people know that you care, they know that you care. And if there's one thing I've been told hundreds, thousands of times, is that you're really easy to talk to because you care.
mm,
Yeah. I've had that on so many calls. I've had that my whole life, which is, I don't understand it really, but it must shine through. And I think that's part of answering your question right there. Is honestly, I don't care if I have it all together. People may look at you from the outside and think you do. That's how you carry yourself. That's how you own the room, I guess. But inside, it's okay to be a hot ass mess at times. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's just not.
I say you
Yeah.
have it all together now. I wouldn't say
I
10
don't know
years
about
ago.
all. Yeah, well, yeah, if you correlate it with 10, 15 years ago, I'm a lot more together than I used to be. But that might just come with age too. That might come with wisdom. That might come with all the stuff that you do. And that's why it's so important to develop yourself, just because. And that's why I say so many times, I don't care who you were 20 years ago or 15 years ago. I care who you're going to be next year or the year after, going into the future. Let
Mhm.
it go, man. Just because you were who you were. And the reason, like you said about the keynote, Jenny busts me a lot for just kind of asking for permission on things. But if there's one thing I'm not going to ask for permission on, I've done a lot of damn work in the last 20 years to change who I was.
Mhm.
And I will not apologize for that. But the other thing that says is, I know everybody listening to this can do the exact same thing. And I'm not saying it takes 20 years, so don't hang on to that crap. But I know that you can develop. I know that you can change. I know that you can enhance yourself and be a different version of yourself than you were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, a year ago, just by simply putting in the effort, making a commitment, and putting in the work. Stop giving yourself the BS out. It's not going to serve you. I'm just telling you. So, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, something you're really good at that I've seen, and it kind of goes back to the question you asked me. You balance ambition, family and personal life really well. And have you ever looked at what you're doing in the past and thought you were chasing the wrong thing, the wrong dream, the wrong place you were at? Have you ever questioned where you were?
Mm-hmm.
That's your answer?
That's my answer.
Yep. Yes.
Not for a long time, but there was a time in my 20s that, I wanted to get into sales, and I knew I was damn good at sales. And I wanted to be in like medical sales or pharmaceutical sales, the cliche, make a lot of money, do the thing. And then every interview I had, Boston Scientific, Stryker, like they all said, well, you need sales experience, go get sales experience. And I'm like, well, how am I supposed to get sales experience if every person saying I need sales experience? Because all I was a bartender and a waitress. And so I sat there and I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I have no idea if I even want to be in, I know I want to be in sales, but do I want to do this type of sales? I don't know. And so I did door to door, and I just loved the game. I loved the thrill. And I was like, all right, if I didn't know it already, I know it now. Like, I'm doing sales for the rest of my life. And then Rory Vaden sat me down in Orlando at a Ritz-Carlton, and he changed my life. I was 27 years old. I didn't think I didn't have the confidence that I knew I could coach someone that was older than me, made more money than me in that moment of time, and that they would listen to me. I did not think I could do that. And Rory looked me in the eye and said, I know you can. Take a chance. You won't regret it. And my moment, like since that day when I was
7.
I know, 20, was it 27?
That's what you just said.
Yeah, I was 27. I was like, that's 10 years ago, almost 11. It changed my life, and sometimes you just have to do things naive, and somebody needs to believe in you more than you believe in yourself in that moment. And Rory was that person for me. And he knew and believed in me so much that I knew I could do it. And then I had the examples of people in my life that did it, that I was able to coach to some of their best years of their life. And now I'm in that same playing field with income and experience and all the things. And so it's like, you just have to do it scared sometimes. You just have to, things always align for a reason. And I'm a true believer in that everything happens for a reason. And there was a reason why I didn't get Boston Scientific. There's a reason why that this opportunity presented itself. There's a reason why I left everything and started my own company this year with my husband. Like, there's a reason why for it all. And you just have to do it scared. And you just have to make sure that people believe in you. And those same people, Rory and AJ, are the ones that believe in us to this day. So they follow you as well.
I love that you said do it naive, because if there's one thing I wish people would understand, is that none of us have it figured out. None of us know. None of us are the best leaders ever. We just consistently work on ourselves to make ourselves better, which is just naive. You have to do it naive. And then the fact of somebody believing in you before you believe in yourself, there are going to be times that you simply don't believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. You're just not that you're questioning, but that somebody is going to believe in you and see something in you that you may not see in yourself until you start seeing it. And that's normal. that's going to happen. But we live in our own little worlds, in our own little heads, that we don't think that's normal for other people. We think that's weird, or and it's not. I wish I could just transfer that to other people, but that also gives you the gift that you consistently want to get better, is what it does. So yeah, none of us are there or close or are going to make it. We just get better. I don't know. Yeah. We can leave it at that. I just want to say thank you for being on here. Hope this helps to understand that when you look at leadership, it's not we've heard it so many times, the finish line and all those different things, but to know that there is a silent weight within the best of the best of the best leaders, that they are, I don't want to say they're struggling, but they struggle at times just like everybody else. They're trying to make decisions. They're trying to keep it all together. They have families. They're running a business. They're working out. They're doing all the things. And there's this thing inside of them that continues to push us. It just does. And you have it in you. Again, I hope you find it. But that is what we are here for, because we know there's pressure and we know there's people you need around you. And again, anytime you want and anytime you listen to this, reach out, email, call, text, and we will find time for you to sit down and go through your business and figure out what you need help with. Anything to add, Mrs. Widman?
You're the best.
Thank you for being on here. I truly appreciate it. Go get it. Thanks for joining us on the Your Limitless Leadership Podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. We hope today's conversation inspired you to think differently about leadership, not just in your career, but in every part of your life. Remember, leadership starts with leading yourself first. It's about taking action, making bold decisions, and showing up with purpose. Now, it's time to take what you've heard today and put it into practice. Whether it's in your business, your community, your family, or your own personal growth, start leading without limits. You have the power to become the leader you're meant to be. Until next time, keep pushing your boundaries and leading with purpose.